to you. Silence is what you giving me. Vision blurry, found my purpose, perfect timing. Left behind my burdens, I was drowning. Forever I'm indebted to you. Silence is what you giving me. Feeling worthless on the surface, though I'm smiling. But pressure tastes the cold and makes a diamond. Now I know what I gotta do. See, when my back against the wall, I switched to red form. Since they ain't tell them, I suggest somebody pray for him. I twist the pressure on the dresser while I'm yawning. Cause life will test you and the stress will have a morning. But would they miss me if a nigga bit the dust? You say you love me, is there something I could trust? I take a leap and hope you catch me when I reach the bottom. But paranoia got the best of me, it's hard to climb it. And I know I ain't really living right. See, life's a gamble, every day a nigga roll the dice. I know you saw it from the moment you looked in my eyes. My cries will help, don't echo back since you've been by my side. It's been a minute since I seen the light. My eyes adjusting to the brightness in the rim of sight. You show me something that I never knew, and I can never pay you back for all the things you do. You give me silence. It's what you giving me. Vision blurry, found my purpose, perfect timing. Left behind my burdens, I was drowning. Forever I'm indebted to you. Silence. It's what you giving me. Feeling worthless on the surface, though I'm smiling. But pressure tastes the cold and makes a diamond. Now I know what I gotta do. See, I don't wanna leave it, see, I gotta go. You gave a nigga wings, so now I gotta fly. I promise I return, but when I do not know. The only limit I can see is in the sky. Remember when I felt that time was running low? I saw the light was fading, I ain't wanna die. You'll always be my anchor while I keep afloat. Abandon what we started, what I won't do. A product of the struggle that we go through. But what don't kill you, build you as you grow. Losing battle, fighting what the hope do. Yeah, ain't no backing down, just so you know. Silence is what you giving me. Vision blurry, found my purpose, perfect timing. Left behind my burdens, I was drowning. Forever I'm indebted to you. Silence is what you giving me. Feeling worthless on the surface, though I'm smiling. But pressure tastes the cold and makes a diamond. Now I know what I gotta do. Silence is what you giving me. Vision blurry, found my purpose, perfect timing. Left behind my burdens, I was drowning. Forever I'm indebted to you. Silence is what you giving me. Feeling worthless on the surface, though I'm smiling. But pressure tastes the cold and makes a diamond. Now I know what I gotta do. For the family, ain't nothing I wouldn't do. And they know what I'm going, no matter who. Stands vacant, I'm plotting my next move. Shot my niggas is getting this stacking blue. Tell them watch for the jackers and undercovers. All the snitches and bitches that say they like it. Not a trapper, I die, but it wasn't me. Streets will snatch how you on somebody's teeth. Shot my nigga, they left him for dead. Hard to kill them, we come for revenge. Told them something won't happen again. 40 caliber, one in the head. Let them curses come blessings instead. Ain't no waters that I couldn't tread. You end up if your brothers ain't fed. At the table, we breaking the bread, yeah. Crown royal, I don't chase it. She ain't loyal, I replace it. Try and play me like I'm basic. I see clearly like lacy. If it's a challenge, I embrace it. Don't test me, then I ace it. Show my mandolin, watch me lace it. Lawless going crazy. I said a lot of vendettas. if y'all run my pleasure. Enemies use all measures, yeah. If you knew better, do better. Follow my lead, trendsetter. We certified go-getters, yeah. Me and my niggas, we don't talk shit, talk business, yeah. Ride to the finish, only one try we giving, yeah. One hand winning, don't smoke to the sky, no ceilings, yeah. I'll be there in a minute, the pedal to the floor, we living, yeah. Drawbacks is a small cause for the dream, yeah. Fall back, never fall off, I've been scheming. All facts, even long gone from the scene, yeah. Cooking up bean, yeah. Serving up fiends.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Uninformed Fan. Today is Wednesday, better known as Hump Day. I am your host, Tyson. With me is my always contradicting and just get under your skin partner, Jeffrey off of the schneid. Jeffrey, how's your day been going today, buddy?
Disappointing.
There's a shocker.
I'm a very positive person. I always see the glass half full.
What's up, Buff?
That comment's coming from. What up, Buff? Hey, Buff, you got hacked on Instagram, bro. But I was hoping that you did buy that Mercedes-Benz with crypto money because that would have been really cool if that happened.
Also, Buff, July 27th, me and the family are coming into your establishment. I'd like to know if you're working or not, or if I have to hit up Ricky, since my other plug's gone. Back to it, Jeffrey!
Who was your other plug?
You, buddy!
Aw.
Yeah, you were my plug.
Sweet. No, so they were supposed to, my roof is supposed to be getting done today. And I sent all my paperwork off to the HOA about 20 days ago. And they said they have 30 days to respond to you and say yes or no.
To getting your roof replaced?
Correct.
The HOA has to approve you getting a new roof. Okay.
Correct. And by the way, so you have to, when you buy a new home in Florida, if the roof is less than 10 years, or if the roof is more than 10 years old, you have to replace the roof for you to get homeowners insurance. Which I told my wife, there's got to be some kind of class action lawsuit coming because you can't view my roof and tell me that it's good for 10 more years, but tell me that I need to replace it and spend $13,000 on a new roof. It's just whatever. Anyway, so it's supposed to get started today. HOA has still not responded after multiple attempts, multiple messages sent, all these different things. Still nothing. Very disappointed. Paint was supposed to go on next week before the baby came. Everything's pushed back 2 weeks. So hopefully they get it done within the 2-month time span that I have. Holding my breath.
You know, as somebody that most recently served on an architectural review committee of an HOA, I find that absolutely egregious because we actually met twice a month to make sure that our residents could get their projects done. So that's pretty sad that's happening too. And I feel bad for you, dude. I really do.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It's been kind of an interesting morning over here today. I woke up at 1:30 in a pool of my own sweat, only to realize that my air conditioner stopped working.
Oh, no.
Yeah, which is beautiful. Luckily, though, I called to have somebody out, I don't know, a couple years ago. And I'm one of those guys that I kind of like learning things. So I watched him. And all it was is the condensation float. Like, there's a little float thing in there. So, like, if the condensation line backs up, it, like, trips it so it doesn't flood into your house. Still worked fine. So this has happened numerous times. So of course I know exactly what it is. I go downstairs 1:30 morning, get the ladder, bring it up, pop the thing up, go up there, and I just push that thing up, right? So it's not going to flood one night. So literally lay there and just sweat for like another hour, waiting for it to cool down. Didn't get to bed till like 3:30 in the morning. It's good times. As you know, I wake up at like 6. I did not wake up at 6. Had a bad training day. Went to go down and make my coffee. My coffee machine's not working right. It's been first world problems over here. Just really first world problems.
It's an expensive coffee machine to not work, you know?
It is.
You expect certain things. So.
I expect my milk to come out, right? I don't expect it to spit.
My poor wife right now, God bless her, she's got restless leg syndrome. Which is just something that happens. I mean, you know, she's due in any minute. Hard date on the 10th. She was due on the 7th, but they scheduled her C-section for the 10th. So, you know, she's going through it right now. She's super pregnant.
You know, I heard, no, I haven't had children, but I've heard one of the best ways to induce labor is sexual intercourse.
Yeah, nobody said we're trying to induce labor though.
Oh, I thought you said you wanted it out.
No, that was with our first one. We actually did that. Doc, we went to Doc, and he's like, "Listen, you're a day past due. If you make it to this day, I got to induce you." Blah blah blah. He goes, "Go home, knock one out, see what happens." And it's interesting because the male
genitalia,
the secretion actually softens the sac that the baby is sitting in, and that's what helps your water.
Oh, the load.
Yes.
Interesting.
It's genetics.
Well, I mean, if you had how to induce labor on your bingo card today, congratulations, you are today's
God
winner.
made us all in a perfect, unbelievable image, where these things just work together.
They do. Well, speaking of some not good news, I know that you heard of Ryan Mallett apparently died yesterday in Florida over in Destin. Crazy, man. Crazy. Drowning out there in the ocean. I saw that I was really impressed. When I woke up, I think it was, I don't know, maybe it was 3 still. I looked and the Patriots already put something out. I was like, that's pretty dope that the Patriots
3 a.m.
Yeah, and they already put it out.
Really hot. Yeah, no, 6'7". I think where did Jeremy say it was? It was Destin.
Destin. He said he was out on a sandbar. So I can only assume that he was out on a sandbar. And for those that aren't from Florida, if like you can kind of go out and you can actually, sometimes you can walk all the way out there. Sometimes you have to swim for a little bit. And then there's another like beach area out there. Well, I'm assuming that high tide came in while they were hanging out there and created some rip currents. Which if you get caught in a rip current in Florida, it's not good. As somebody that's been stuck in one, and especially if you're drinking, and I'm not saying he was drinking, but I definitely was drinking. It's not a good thing. You panic instantly. It's bad. It's bad news. So our condolences go out to his family and everything that's going on over there.
Absolutely.
Terrible tragedy down here in Florida. We did, and then, we did talk a little bit before about Panama City Beach, what I just noticed is the deadliest beach in all of the United States now, with 4 people dying over the weekend from rip currents. And I remember being down there for spring break, and that's where I did get caught in one. It's just crazy, man. There's nothing worse than having no control over your body and what's happening.
And for those of you thinking that this is some kind of a global warming thing or whatever, like Tyson was 21 at the time, so this is back in the 80s. This has been an issue for a very, very long time. So
the 80s, huh?
Let's not get it twisted over here,
I guess so. And then, but we might as well just get the condolences out of the way here. I mean, and then get into a show. But Jimmy Johnson's family, holy macaroons, man. I saw something like a brief headline that says Jimmy Johnson won't be racing this weekend due to his wife's death in his wife's family. That's all I saw. I was like, all right, whatever. And I think it was you or Chad or somebody that put it out on the group text. Did you see what happened? Mm-hmm. And I said no, and then nobody responded. So I'm like, okay. And then thank God Paul comes in and gives me the details. So then I'm like, oh shit! Now I gotta Google this. And wow, what another complete tragedy in the sports world. So shout out, not shout out, but condolences to Jimmy Johnson and his family. Like, holy moly, man! Squeeze your loved ones. Tell them that you love them. Be there for them. Give them the compassion that they need, because you never know what fight anyone's fighting. It's just
every day is precious. While we treat them like they are our last every day that we can. So, yes, God bless Jimmy Johnson. So
I guess we're just going to keep on with the sober tone here. Out in Omaha, the Gators couldn't find
who you are, depending on if that's a sober tone or not.
Well, I mean, as this show, and you're not an LSU fan, and me being the only Gator fan here, it is a somber moment. So let's just go ahead and put that out there in the world. The same thing as if the Florida State was in the national championship and they lost against somebody other than the Florida Gators, I would sympathize with you. And it wouldn't be sarcasm's sympathy. It would be actual sympathy, other than the smirks that I'm getting from you over there right now. I know that everybody likes to see the Gators fall, but when you're on the tippity top of the mountain, everyone loves to see you fall down. And that is what happened to our Florida Gators. When I say our, I'm talking about Florida Gator Nation. I'm talking to you. We had a great run. It was a little bit of a lackluster season, though, to be perfectly honest with you. It had a lot of ups and downs. We came off that great game, the great win where we completely destroyed LSU. And I said something at the very end that I didn't like. And that was at the bottom of the ninth when they hit the solo shot. I felt like that gave them that little bit of light that said, hey, we can do this. We know that we're better than this, which they definitely are better than that when they showed. And they came out and, the very first pitch of the game, the dude beans the batter. And I'm like, here we go. And let me be perfectly honest as well here. I'm not 100% clear on the depth chart of Florida's pitching, right? I didn't really pay attention to it until, the College World Series. But they put the guy out there that I do believe started game one and was absolutely atrocious. He couldn't find command, walking everybody, and we saw the same shit. And then he finally learned how to throw strikes, and the only thing he could get across the plate was the fastball. And I told, I said on Monday's show, LSU eats fastballs alive at 98, 95 miles an hour when it hits the home plate zone as it's calibrated by. They were just absolutely crushing that, and they did it again, and they absolutely crushed the Gators. I guess you still say good season, falling up a game short. I think I'd like to see this become a best of 5 series. I just think that a best of 3 is just a little too short, right? I mean, we're talking about, two levels below majors. Majors is 7. I guess that would be, then the next one would be 5, then 3. But I'd like to see this become a 5-game series. I know there's a lot of logistical issues with that in regards to expenses and stuff like that. But very, very poor performance from the Florida Gators. The pitching staff mainly is what I'd have to say about that. Little control, little nut. But shout out to the LSU Tigers. You guys are absolutely putting together a dominance of a program down there between all of your sports. As much as it pains for me to say that. But you are in the greatest conference in college that will ever be. So it's not really too far off. But congratulations to LSU. Chris Shea, if you ever do see this, I'm punching you square in the nuts the first time I see you. And that'll be it.
Why? What's wrong with Shea?
He made a comment on Facebook. Something of...
Where is Gator Nation tonight?
No. There's something out here. Let me...
That's what he said.
No,
This quiet.
Yeah, this was under the comments, and someone said the same place Tiger fans were last night, sitting in the dark, saying "What the fuck." And then Chris commented, "Difference is just like Gators football, they didn't show up when something meaningful is on the line." Yeah, so that's all I said. I just said we are fighting sight unseen next time I see you. So, and I stick next to that. It must be amazing to be a South Dakota fan, a Minnesota fan, an LSU fan, probably a Yankee fan too. I mean, maybe a Dodgers fan in there as well. I mean, just pick them all, Shay. Just pick them all.
This game, unfortunately, and Florida starts off hot, and then LSU, the onslaught just begins, and then it's like, and then I'm at work. There's people at the bar, and LSU's putting on their 16th and 17th run, and these guys are cheering like it's 4-3.
And that's
buying shots for the bar. I'm like, what is going on right now? It's like College World Series. But I learned something about myself, and I will say this is that I am sick and demented in the ways that I think. So when I was watching this game, right, I started off being like, go Tyson. Go Florida, hope they win. Then when LSU went up, I thought to myself, I go, man, Florida State plays LSU week 1 in football. Now, if LSU wins the College World Series, that takes up, and they just won the women's, college basketball championship. I go, I feel like that takes away some karma, and I feel like that gives, even if it's a 1 or 2% edge, I feel like it adds to Florida State being able to win week 1. So I, as upset as I was, my demented, sick, twisted head made it make sense to me that by this happening, Florida State has a better shot to win week 1 of opening weekend the day before Labor Day.
Well, I mean, I'll take that. I mean, because we both know that we both have said, knowing that, someone that is absolutely crushed by this loss, you kind of take some solace in, and hey, I wasn't even there. So
well, but not even that. I'm so selfish that I'm thinking about the fact that maybe it gives Florida State a 1% better chance in the cosmos of the gods. I don't know. I need.
I don't know. It was a pretty poor performance all around. It's just, it is what it is. You know, as far, like I said, as far as LSU, they're just building a hell of a program. I do believe I saw something in the nature of their head coaches, right? I think it was the women's head basketball coach. This was her third year. She won a championship. LSU baseball coach, this is his third year. They won a championship, and this will be Les Miles' third year at LSU.
It won't. It'll be his second year.
Then it was second year. It correlated with every single one. So
I think it's second year, yeah.
Yeah, so that would have been her second year, his second year, and now his second year.
Don't tell me that after I just justified to myself that.
Well, I'm spinning it right back on you, baby. You better get ready. Are we going to that game, by the way?
What?
LSU. Isn't it in Orlando?
It is in Orlando, but me having a family of 10 and tickets being $275 for Upper Bowl right now, I am squarely out.
Well, what if we get a sponsorship, you know?
What do you mean?
Just what I said. What if we get a sponsorship? We have
Who's sponsoring us? Red Bull?
We have sponsors. We have sponsors.
That is a nice jersey that you have on, though. I will
Thank
say
you.
that.
It is the Red Bull
For
team.
those of you who are
jersey.
watching and not just listening, it is pretty sharp.
This
you
is
look like you belong on the team.
It was funny because I wore this in Miami, and when we were getting on the bus to get there was like 3 or 4 of us that all had these shirts on. This guy sitting there with his Aston Martin goes, "Oh, great, we got the Red Bull pit crew on our bus."
Yep.
It looked just, but especially with the headset, right? You know, all I need is a beat.
Yeah, no, you look like you should be sitting there, you know, watching the screen and, you know, looking at numbers and making sure everything's on point, you know.
Speaking of which, I got another big decision today. I'm cutting the cord.
No more talking about numbers on point.
No more Spectrum.
Oh no, what happened?
Well, I looked at my bill.
Yeah, I finally got my Spectrum figured out.
$337 a month is what I'm paying for internet
What
and
do you
TV.
have?
Everything.
Which TV? Oh, okay. Like I'm at like 200, but I also have a credit on there as well too. That expires, I think, in September.
But what I also, it was like $110, $120 for my internet, and then it was $160 for my TV. And I'm like, what am I doing here? Because I have the Hulu bundle as well, right? So it's $30 a month. I get all the live TV I want. Boom, that covers that. I have every other freaking app there is.
Man. There's nothing that sucks, and like I say this to my wife all the time when we're watching shows. It's like there's nothing that makes me feel like poverty more than when I'm watching Hulu and ads start coming on.
Okay, ad free, bro. It's $39. $39 ad free. Boom.
I feel poor, you know.
Well, I was thinking about this, right? So the only thing that this is going to affect me on is Florida sports. That's the only thing, because I have
sports, yeah.
I have every other package. College sports as well, But I mean, I still have the SEC. I'll still have the SEC network. I'll still have ESPN Plus, which I'll be able to get most of college on that. But yeah, it's just a rip, man. It's a rip. And Spectrum, if you're listening, this is what I don't understand. Before we move on here, because we got the boys coming in about 10 minutes. So Spectrum came into our community, and I told you this before, that when they built this community, Spectrum got with Toll Brothers, and it's a monopoly in here. They're only lines that are ran. We can't get anything other than Spectrum. But yet Spectrum just came to our HOA and said, hey, we would like to lock you guys in a 5-year contract. We're going to give you a $100,000 kickback. And for our fiber that I pay $127 a month for, we're going to give it to each household for $35 a month. If you want internet and TV, we're going to charge you $45 a month. So, of course, the first thing everybody is like, ooh, this is awesome. But, me being the thinker and the guy that has probably taken more things up the tailpipe and getting screwed over more than I can even remember, I'm like, this doesn't seem right. Why would a company that has 95% of the community already, 95% at $120 or $150 a month per each package, why in the world would they drop that down to $35 or $45 a month, take $100 or $200 hit per household, plus give us $100,000? Something's going on here, guys. This is too good to be true. So, of course, after I did that, they started doing their due diligence. So I'm really, really looking forward to hearing what happens with that. But, yes, I am cutting the cord. No more $300 cable bills for this guy. I have every single package. There's no need to have it. Plus, we don't watch really live TV anyway. We're on Suits.
Yeah, no, Suits is a great show.
Love it. Well, we do have the NHL draft tonight.
I feel like
Go ahead.
I've been, sometimes you start seeing, and I don't know what, it's a Facebook thing, I think, where they start showing you clips of a show, right? And the clips are like, the little whatever,
20 seconds,
whatever it is. And so, you have those, and then you're like, oh, that was a good show. Maybe I should start watching that show again. And it happened with Suits, where I saw clips from Suits, and then I kind of, rewatched Suits or finished Suits. And now it's got me with Entourage. Like, the Entourage clips have been nonstop on my Facebook lately. And
once you watch one and you watch it fully, or if you watch it fully and it starts to reload, the algos pick up on that, and then they start giving it to you. I literally just watched all
on Ari just screaming at people, and it's making me.
I love it. I just watched all of those.
Very happy.
As you know, I watched the movie first. I literally just watched all of Entourage this year. I'd never seen it.
I don't know if I ever watched the movie.
Yeah, the movie was pretty good. The real Entourage fans didn't really like it. They said it was kind of but I enjoyed it. But I've also learned that my standards of movies aren't very good. I watched myself watching Black Adam again the other day. And I probably watched this.
The Rock?
Yeah, I probably watched this like 5 times because it's on, and I'm like, this is a bad movie. I
haven't seen it. Yeah.
What am I doing? I don't know. But we did have the NHL draft tonight. The Chicago Blackhawks are on the number 1 pick. We're gonna get Bedard, which is hopefully going to save the Blackhawks franchise from the dubious things that we have gone through over the years. There's a lot of controversy still with this and the number 1 pick, and Chicago being awarded the number 1 pick with the scandals that have happened over the past years and the punishments or lack thereof. And for those people that I would say, get over it. We got the number 1 pick. Don't care what you think. Don't care if it's a conspiracy. Don't care if you think it's rigged. The bottom line is we have the little envelope. They will be calling his name first, and he will be putting on that lovely red sweater, and hopefully we'll have another picture of him and the numerous new Blackhawks that are going to come along the way in the next couple of years to hold up the Lord Stanley Cup trophy again. Good times. It's looking up. We had a lot of, as Jeffrey just said, a lot of dark days. A lot of dark days in Chicago hockey since 2015.
Sons of bitches, dude.
A lot of dark days since 2015.
Bro.
If you would just be a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, Jeff, you'd be riding on the edge of the world because they're just in it all the time.
I can't claim and it is amazing that you're giving this speech, and as you are, your Kane jersey is literally flapping in the wind over here.
It got hot up here. I had to turn on my fan a little bit higher.
Yeah, but I'm like, all of a sudden you start giving this Blackhawks speech and it's just waving. I'm like, this is a little weird.
We got 3 cups in 6 years. I mean, that was a great run. But before that, and now after that, it's been dismal, black hole.
You just traded for somebody too. Taylor Hall?
I just saw that they just inked him yesterday.
Taylor Hall from the Boston Bruins as well too. Who I thought he was like an award winner in 18 and 19 for something. I don't know. Anyway, I just saw the news come across. I saw a little bit of a breakdown of it. It seemed pretty interesting to me. Yeah, man. Congratulations to you guys. It's just.
Yeah. It should be good.
It's been a tough cycle for.
It's been tough for Chicago fans since 2016, all right? Let's just put it that way. The Blackhawks won the Cup in 2015. The Cubs won it in 2016. And since then, we have faded back into irrelevance that Chicago sports is known for so many years and so long. Now we have Justin Fields coming up. We got a little moves going on. Everybody's excited for football. As you know, Chicago Bears fans were always excited the first couple weeks of the year anyway. Then we realized, hey, we suck still, but this time it's going to be different, and this year it's going to be different as well. Justin Fields is taking us to the crown of the NFC Central and the NFC North, and we will be in the playoffs this year. Screw you, Detroit, Rock City.
Because some people say that this is not like a guarantee that the Blackhawks make the playoffs this year.
The Blackhawks are not making the playoffs. I was talking about the Bears.
But you would think you're making trades, you're getting in,
No, it's completely developmental. I mean,
generational prospects.
Correct. That kid's going to need at least a year. At least a year to get up to speed on the NHL, the speed, the hits, all of that kind of fun stuff. So, yeah, I wouldn't be worried about that. We do have F1 coming up this weekend. We're back in Austria, which we already talked about. Qualifying will be coming up starting tomorrow. Looking forward to another Max Verstappen win. I'm pretty sure it'll happen again as I'm wearing my Red Bull jersey, throwing support behind it. I did make the call on Monday about Sergio Perez potentially not being on the team later in this year, to which my cousin completely replied, why would he not be on the team? He's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He is in second place. And to that, I would say again, yes, while he is in second place for now, he is quickly losing position and finishing outside of the top three and outside of a podium position in that Red Bull car that is so dominant by Max Verstappen is just completely unacceptable. He needs to step it up. Regardless if you're to the number 2, you have the best car by far on the grid, and we need to see that kind of driving out of you, Checo Perez. You're better than that. You need to be better than that if you want to keep your seat. So really looking to see what happens out of there. This is obviously not one of his best tracks as well. He did not finish last year. Of course, Max Verstappen did finish second behind Charles Leclerc of Ferrari. So we're looking forward to see what happens with that as well. Now, before we move into Gap Wedge Wednesday, we did want to talk a little bit. We haven't talked a little bit about Major League Baseball this year because there's been just other things going on, and Major League Baseball is such a long season. But now we are in the thick of it. We're about ready to hit the All-Star break, and we're going to kind of give our little pre-breakdown going into the All-Star break of some of the things that we saw, some of the things that we think are good, and some of the surprises that we've had around the league. And, I'm going to start it off first on the American League. Out of the AL East, I did say the Tampa Bay Rays would win this division, which they are doing. They are 4 games up. But the big surprise in this has to be the Baltimore Orioles. And I know that there's a couple people in our little Trinity group, or one person, I guess, that is a diehard Orioles fan. But to Jeff's point and what Jeff talked about at the beginning of the year, the Orioles pitching is what's going to be the problem. And we've seen a few of these guys completely step up. We actually have one on our team in Bradish, who has had some great performances. I think that the Baltimore Orioles pitching has definitely surprised them this year.
I think back into the bullpen is pretty good as well, too, in terms of them being able to close out games. The problem was the starters. But, if a guy like Rodriguez steps up in the second half and really makes that push to be the guy that we think he can be, the sky's the limit for them. I said they're going to be one of the most entertaining, fun teams to watch in baseball. Mullins is still out. When Mullins gets back, that's going to be another factor that you add into that lineup to go along with everybody they have. I love them. I mean, my pick out of this was the Blue Jays, and I think I'm still sticking with Toronto. They're actually my pick to make it to the World Series against Atlanta this year. That was what I said to start the season. I love when you have a guy like Jose Barrios as your number 4 starter. I think their rotation's deep, and the back end's okay. I love their bats, obviously, as well too.
It's funny that you mentioned Jose Barrios, considering that you dropped him earlier in the year on our team, and you actually made fun of me for starting Jose Barrios, and now we couldn't get that guy if we tried, because he's having a great year. Who is not having a great year is Mr. Moana. Manoah.
Yes, Manoah just threw in minor leagues yesterday, gave up 11 runs in like 1 inning. Looks like he will. It's like a Chuck Knobloch syndrome. It's great.
What a fall from grace. The only thing that I can think about that is, I know that they changed the baseball this year, but that couldn't have that much effect on it. I don't know what I just think the guy's completely lost his confidence. He's lost his mojo. When you do that in sports, it's so hard to get back. The AL Central, we're not even going to talk about, although the Twins are winning that at 1 game under 500. And then the AL West, the Texas Rangers have to be one of the biggest surprises out there. We're 17 games over 500 with a 5-game lead over the Los Angeles Angels. That's got to be one of the bigger surprises out there. Houston's going to be Houston. Seattle's a little bit of a disappointment, though, at 38 and 40, 2 games under 500. With the talent that they had at the end of last year and the depth and the farm system that they brought up, we really expected better things out of them, and they're not really showing at this point in the standings.
Yeah, it's interesting. Houston's taken a little bit of a step back. I feel like this year they're not as great as we anticipated them to be. I'm not really sure what to put my finger on with that. Maybe it's starting pitching. I'm not 100% sure. Mariners or whatever. The Rangers, to me, absolutely the surprise of the year when it comes down to that division. The problem is now you have DeGrom who's gone for the rest of the year. How do you perform? How do you shore up that spot in the rotation? We'll see what happens going forward.
Was he really performing at DeGrom level this year, though?
He's still the name and he's still the anchor. You know what I mean? So it's like you still know that like every 5th day you got that guy to trot out there and go to war for you. So
yeah, I like I said, I kind of watched him a little bit. I know he wasn't, or maybe I was thinking, Jacob DeGrom, right? The one that looks like Thor. They called him Thor for a while.
You're talking about Noah Syndergaard.
No, Noah Syndergaard. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, he has had a bad year. Bad year. Moving over to the National League, the AL East, there's no surprise there. The Atlanta Braves are 52-27, 658. Have a great year. I mean, we have Albies, and we also have Acuna Jr. I have Acuna Jr. on both my teams, actually. And what a great year that they're having. I mean, as you said, Acuna Jr. could possibly, be definitely in the talks as far as the player of the year, which we'll get into that before we go on.
Well, don't they do MVP for AL and NL? Isn't there an AL and an NL? So, I mean, you're not.
I guess technically, yes. Yeah.
He's not going up against Shohei. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's going up against Corbin Carroll and, some of the Marlins guys.
That was going to be leading into the next one. The Miami Marlins have to be one of the biggest surprises once again. Just continuing to plug away at 46-34. Big surprise, especially being over the Phillies and having a 4-game lead over the Phillies. I think that, kudos to what they got going on in Miami. Maybe it just took Derek Jeter getting out of there. Oh, did I say that out loud? I didn't mean that. I don't know. Maybe the captain has a little bit of Jordan syndrome when it comes to front office.
Not everything you can touch in life is always going to turn to gold. Not every argument you're going to win, and so, sometimes you just got to eat it on the chin.
And speaking of which, the New York Mets are doing just that.
Yeah.
I mean, what a dumpster fire that team
Extremely
is.
Disappointing.
And you know what?
Why is Buck Showalter always considered a great manager?
I have no idea.
Weird thing to me.
The more I look at it, we have 2 of their starting pitchers. We have their closer. I'm just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? But there's nobody out there, unfortunately.
There is a press conference scheduled for today. I want to say it's at 11:30 by the owner, Steve Cohen, is going out there. Also, did you see this? Did you see Billions is coming back? Did you ever watch Billions back?
I watched all of Billions. It went really downhill, though, after Axelrod left.
Bobby.
Back. Yes.
Axe is back. Axe is back for the last season.
We talked about that. We talked about they screwed that actor out of Homeland when he was awesome. Yeah. They screwed him out of Billions. Bring him back. Bobby Axelrod back on.
Bobby Axelrod is back. Steve Cohen is back.
Get Mike Prince out of here. Nobody likes that Prince. Prince is fun.
Mike Prince is now running for president as well, too. Which
Correct.
I saw in the preview.
That's how he ended the year. Yeah.
So it'll be. I don't know. I'm kind of excited for this. I haven't watched it since COVID, but
as somebody that is in
the
the financial institution, I day trade every day, look at stocks. That show is absolutely awesome. It's actually what really wanted me to get into it.
Who's your favorite character on that show? I have 2.
Bobby and Swag. I mean, not Swags. Wags.
Wags.
Yeah.
Wild Bill.
Which actually, I hate Wags on Suits. Because he's Pearson Hardman. He's Hardman. Yeah.
I love Wild Bill. Wild Bill is awesome.
But moving on, we got the NL Central. We got a few surprises here. One, the Cardinals being in dead last 12 games under 500 is probably one of the bigger ones.
Well, he's got to step it up, bro. I can't believe that, man.
The Cincinnati Reds are leading this division. They're only 4 games over 500. So let's just from top to bottom, there's only 8-game discrepancy. So as we all know in baseball, this can turn on a dime. But I'm in a couple of Cincinnati Reds groups on Facebook just because I sell some of the memorabilia. So I post in there and, do some thoughts. The way that they shit on this team and this organization during the offseason when they made some really, really questionable moves, right? They were all down on them. And now you should see these groups. We're number 1. De La Cruz is going to take us all the way. Really good to see something good come out of Cincinnati. As, again, I was watching Draft Day, which was on last night. I know, one of your favorites. The radio announcer sitting there saying, this is Cleveland, Ohio. We don't have a beach. We don't have bikini babes. We don't have anything. It's cold. It's dingy. All we have is sports. So kudos to Cincinnati on having some sports out there. Really good stuff there.
Ellie looks like a generational talent, Acuna level, Bryce Harper. I mean, and surpassing them as well, too. Sky's the limit for the kid. Hits for power, hits per average. Can run all over the field. Really an incredible
absolutely
prospect, man.
It's always good when the Cubs are still ahead of the Cardinals. Pittsburgh comes back to reality after their hot start. I was just blown away by that, to be perfectly honest.
And you're like, McCutcheon's just playing out of his mind. You're like, what is going on right now? Like, how is this even possible? You can't even write a fairy tale like this.
And if I was a betting man, I think that you could take odds on any one of these 5 teams to win the division at this point. I really think it's that wide open and it's that mediocre to where anybody could get into this division. Now, probably the biggest disappointed, I would say, division that there is the NL West. You got some of the most loaded teams out there on the West, and I'm talking about the Dodgers. I'm talking about the Padres, and even the Giants. And the Arizona Diamondbacks are the ones that are holding it down with 16 games over 500.
If you listen to the preview show, there was a guy I mentioned in Corbin Carroll, who's having an incredible year this year. I said he had a chance to steal 50 bags this year. Listen, guy's incredible. Arizona's playing out of their mind. Sometimes these teams just kind of come together and fall together. Biggest disappointment, I could say the Mets are the biggest disappointment, but the Padres to me are absolutely the biggest disappointment in baseball. When you have Bogarts, when you have Tatis, when you have all these guys on the same
Machado,
team, when you have the same the starting lineup that you have, when you have Hader on the back end, to me, the absolute biggest disappointment in baseball. I was completely wrong about them, and I apologize if you tailed me in anything that I said when it came to this.
When I got Josh Hader, right, I have him again on both teams. I was like, this is awesome. This dude's going to he's going to get at least 2 saves a week. This team is so stacked. You got Darvish on the mound. You got Blake Snell. You got some really, really good pitchers. Waka hasn't really done anything.
Yep.
You got Joe Musgrove. You have Lugo. I mean, there's so many good players on this team that is literally just walking out into the field, pulling down their pants and taking a shit and saying, I hope this doesn't stink. Well, let me tell you, San Diego, you stink. You are terrible. Your payroll has got to be in the top 5, if not top 3 of all of baseball. Jeremy, if you could check that real quick.
I believe so.
I mean, and this just goes back to the Mets as well. The Mets are up there, right? I do believe the Mets, they have some of the highest contracts as well. And this just goes to show you that the Moneyball theory, right? I love that show. I can't believe I waited that long to watch it. But just because a player has a good season doesn't mean they're worth $30-40 million a year. They're just not worth it. There's other production.
The Mets spending money on Scherzer and Verlander and these guys who are a little bit over their prime, not really in their prime, not really developing. Like if you look at the Marlins, what they've done is, the same model that the Braves have is that but the Marlins are different, right? The Braves, they see the talent, they see the potential. We sign these guys to long-term deals. Everybody says we steal them. Well, listen, we're also avoiding arbitration. We're paying them more money up front. There's a whole, algorithm that goes into it. So,
Jeremy says it's the payroll is Mets, Yankees, Padres. And all 3, and the Dodgers are 5th. Not one team is leading their division.
I told you I'm very excited because I did see that the Home Run Derby is going to be on July 10th, which means that the All-Star Game will be on the 11th. And I'm just excited for that because my wife is scheduled to give birth on the 10th, and that'll be done at like 5 a.m., which means that we'll be in the hospital for about 2 to 3 days, which means that I will just be sitting up ordering room service. Well, see, this is the problem. I'm going to get put on a TikTok about this, about ordering room service when your wife is giving birth. But it is, you're ordering food to the room, you got the TV on, feed her up, taking care of the newborn,
And exciting news just off the wire before we bring the boys in. I just got the email. Training camp selection days are now live. I have my opportunity on July 14th to purchase said tickets. We are looking at Sunday, July 30th, outdoor practice. I get an indoor practice. I mean, that's August 1st. Yeah, an indoor practice at 7 to 10 p.m.
Okay.
So be looking forward to the end of July. Oh, you know what, bro? I'm out of town. You want to go to July 30th and August 1st?
Nope.
You don't want to do the indoor either?
Nope.
Anybody hit me up on the flip phone if you want to get in this. But we're gonna look at. Oh my God, here we go. With that being said, it is Wednesday. We have the Bad Burrito Boys, the AKA Golf Legends, coming into the stream today with another win off of their backs. Once again, they continue to deliver the money. They continue to deliver the dough. Welcome in, Chad, Paul. How are we doing today, boys?
What's up, boys? Good morning.
Ollie. Chad, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing pretty well. Just hanging out, talking some sports. Excited to have you guys on today. Of course, coming off of another. I mean, this has been a run like no other. I will say that. Keegan Bradley wins the Travelers Championship. Not only does he win the Travelers Championship, you got guys up there, who played really well for you as well too. I'm not sure the exact breakdown of your week, but I'm sure having Keegan definitely helps out a little bit. Obviously, Morikawa was the flagship, but just as we call you guys the bad burrito boys, Morikawa ate a bad burrito on Thursday, shot lights out on Friday. Unfortunately, the cut had moved so much that he wasn't able to make the cut. But still, great hit on Keegan. Congratulations to you, both you guys. Once again, another week of another winner. Chad, how was your Sunday?
My Sunday was great. I didn't watch hardly any golf.
Heard.
I was at a staycation for my daughter's birthday, so just hung out with the family all day.
I saw some pictures. Ireland had a good time.
Yeah, she did. She took her the whole weekend to ride the slide, and then finally about Sunday night, about 7 p.m., 8 p.m., she finally started riding the slide, and then we couldn't get her off of it. So, that's what they do. They wait till the end and then waste all your time doing things that they should have been doing the whole time they've been there.
Well, it's like when you're a kid and you're riding a roller coaster, right? And your little trepidation about getting on the roller coaster. You get on, you have so much fun. It's just, from then on, you're just addicted to it. So, Paul, how was your weekend? What do you think about the golf that we saw this weekend?
My weekend was great. Yep, got to spend time with family and friends, and watched a little bit of the golf. Actually, this was of the tournaments that have been happening. I think maybe I was a little burnt out, and I didn't watch a ton of the Travelers, but what I did see, I enjoyed. It was all right. Morikawa missing the cut was not fun.
No.
We had a couple guys who missed top 20s by one stroke. The Keegan win, it certainly softens the blow, but overall not an outstanding week for the burrito
Lipstick
boys.
on
I
a
wouldn't
pig.
say.
Kind of.
Yeah,
One of those things.
It's a good number, and we're happy to tip it for the folks. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. What did you think about? And Paul, I'll start with you, and then Chad, I'll follow this up with you. What did you think about Rory's comments? Obviously, we sent that tweet to the group about Rory talking about how the game and the ball and the equipment and everything has surpassed this golf course. What do you think about those comments, and do you think that that's something that is, I guess, factual and something that the PGA needs to be cognizant of going forward?
Yeah, so I think that Rory McIlroy is far more qualified to speak on professional golf than I am. I think what he said I think it's true. I don't think that means they shouldn't play there. The Travelers has become one of the best events on tour. The players love it.
It's the second ranked attendance in all of golf. So
Right.
Yeah, I mean they come out in droves for this thing, and the players rave about the amenities and how the event takes care of them. The golf course itself, it's short, it's easy. So I get what he's saying. I mean, it's not an ultimate test of golf. It's not difficult for some of these guys, and Rory's one of the best drivers of the golf ball, and
Right.
he can't go driver on every hole.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little bit. It kind of mitigates his advantage that he has over everybody. When you get to something like this, but he still played great, obviously, as well too.
He doesn't like short par 70s.
Yeah,
He doesn't like Harbortown. That's on record.
Harbortown.
He's not into this one. There were 2 elevated events that were short par 70s, and he skipped one, and to the tune of $3 million. So, he's fine. The guy's one of the best golfers ever.
Not to beat a dead horse here, Chad, but any thoughts that you have on that?
Well, we all know that his thing is to drive the ball, and if it's not a 500-yard par 4, that he's one of the only ones that can reach into with a wedge.
Right.
It's like that's the way I feel about this whole conference. Like, he's talking about it not being on there, but like being on tour or whatever, and it's not our fault that you finally play a good 4 rounds and shoot 18 under or whatever it was and still can't win. It's not our fault that some people were better than you.
But
Like,
isn't he like the leader of like roll the equipment back, roll the ball back, like make it more? And I guess that won't really have much to do with it because he's still going to hit the ball farther than everybody anyway, right?
right. I mean, that's the thing is like I don't understand his whole thought process on that. Like that's his bonus, like so to say, like that's his cheat code. Is it with the balls he's playing right now? He's the one hitting it over 350 consistently, then down the fairway, and it's not our fault that his wedges and putter aren't matching up with his driver, to where he can sit there and go and beat everyone every time he's driving the ball great. You know, like other people can hit as good as your irons in from 125. They can hit closer from 175 because they're just better at it. You know, it's just one of those things. Like it is what it is.
Things too. When you look at it and you see, you know, and you're like frustrated with hitting a bad pitching wedge or, you know, a 56 or whatever, and it's like what the tour average is from 135 yards. You know, and I feel like a lot of times as regular golfers, we like hold ourselves to that standard when it's like, dude, like you're probably hitting the ball absolutely fine. But,
yeah,
we
like that's the thing. It's like proximity from like 125 average on the tour is like 28 feet, and like we're out there hitting shots like that. I mean,
we hit it to 20 feet, and we're like, oh, I just fanned it a little bit. You know, it's like, shut up, dude. Like Paul was to tell me every time we're on the golf course golfing together. But anyway, we digress as well too. Anyway, we put a bow on the Travelers right there. Like I said, congratulations again. Nice hit for you boys as well with having the Keegan outright. What are we looking forward to this week, Paul? What do we got lined up? I know I think we're in Detroit. Rocket Mortgage. I saw there was some storms that happened. They had some things to clean up. What are we looking at this week, Paul?
There's been a lot of rain on the course. It's Detroit, Michigan, Detroit Golf Club. It is 7370, so just under 7,400 yards. It is a par 72. It is flat. It is straight. It is boring parkland. Not a lot of rough. Tyson, not a lot of penal rough. It's only 4 inches, and 4 inches is fine.
That's what my wife tells me.
Yeah. The greens are a POA bent mixed. Tony Finau said they're bent. Others are saying they're more POA. It doesn't matter. They're going to be rolling slower than some of the normal tour stuff, so maybe a 10.5, especially with the dampness. Of course, it's going to play a little bit longer because it is wet, but the fairways and greens should be receptive. So, target golf. If your game's on, Finau also speculated in his press conference that it's going to be about 30 under is going to win this thing. So, if you like birdies, it's a week to watch.
Chad, anybody we're looking at that likes birdies and might shoot 30 under this week that we want to put a pin on?
Well, yeah, there's some guys that like to get birdies in bunches. If you just look back at U.S. Open, someone like Tom Kim threw together a 6 under on the front 9, shot at 29 at the U.S. Open, and that's a tough course. There's a lot of guys last week. I mean, obviously Keegan got to 26 under at one point, and then lost a few strokes when it didn't really matter anymore because he's up by like 7. So I mean, there's guys out there that if they're hitting the ball in the fairway and then they've got like 100 to 150 in to the pin, you can throw some darts out there. And that's the thing, is that with it being so soft, it's going to be a lot easier for these guys to just stick it right by the pin and, you know, have a little 5-footer for birdie. So you'll have a lot of those.
Justin Thomas has never played in this tournament?
No, because it's boring.
It's only 5 years old. This is only the fifth rendition.
He actually, Paul told me that he actually added this because he's trying to make the Ryder Cup. So he's not playing very well.
Playoffs.
So he's coming out. So he's coming out in this tournament for a purpose. He's coming into a weaker field with what he expects to perform very well to increase his opportunity.
Yeah, he's trying to make the playoffs.
That's what he thinks he's doing.
Are you trying to say that might not be what he will do?
I'm not. I mean, I've seen this guy play all year, and it's kind of painful.
It's been feast or famine, really, hasn't it?
It's been. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, obviously, guys are going to be able to bomb the ball. Of course, seems it's going to play a little bit longer, as Paul said, with the wetness that's out there as well too. But birdies will be able to be made. Any kind of formula that we're looking at in terms of what we like here, Paul? Are we looking at driving distance? Are we looking at approach? Are we looking at strokes gained, putting? What are we circling here for us?
Those three, yeah. Driving
Okay.
distance is important. Proximity, so strokes gained approach, and then you're gonna have to have a hot putter when it comes down to a birdie fest like this. So,
Okay.
if you're making pars, you're losing strokes to the field in something that's gonna probably end up between 25 and 30. So
Anybody we got trending in that direction?
So yeah, if we look at the past champions, you have Tony Finau, long hitter, hits a wedge well, and got a hot putter this particular week. Bryson DeChambeau, long ball hitter, can gouge it out of the rough, and an underrated putter.
I think he's going to be there this week, though, is he?
Cam Davis, same thing. No, he's not. But just as far as historical,
I got you, just historical.
Cam Davis, same type thing. Long ball hitter, plays the approach shot well, and made some putts. He went to a playoff. That was a sweat. He won on the 4th of July, and that was ostracized by my family because I was sitting in front of a 19-inch tube television watching golf, and my whole family's outside having a good time. Anyway, I was in New Orleans for that. Yeah, we did hit that one though. That was a good week. So guys who we're looking at this week, up at the top of the board, Chad did mention Tom Kim. I at the shortest number that I'll likely bet all season, I'm going back to Ricky Fowler.
Been playing some great golf.
He's playing the best in the field by far over the course of the last 2-3 months. I'd say he's the best he's ever played in his life.
He seems so good mentally right now, too.
As far as a long term, or
I think he's
2 to 3 months.
I definitely think he's in a great place mentally,
even though he hasn't won. Yeah, he's on the verge. If we look at his last, say, 10 events, he did miss the cut at the PGA Championship, but a 13, a 5, a 9, a 6, the miscut at the PGA, a 14, a 15, a 10, a 13, a 31 at the API, a top 20 at the Genesis, and we're back to a top 10 at the Phoenix Open. We're in February, and none of those the PGA Championship, sure, tough test of golf. This is not a tough test of golf, and Ricky just shot a round of 60 last week. So as far as birdie or better average over the course of the last 24 or the last 12 rounds, he's number one in the field in birdies or better.
I think my biggest concern with him, and Chad will, I'm sure, point it out immediately, is he just can't seem to close out Sundays. He's struggled with the Sundays. Just like, I put out there, Ricky, 10 under on Saturday, Chad. Oh, great, just so he can choke on Sunday. I think,
Hey, Tyson, I mean, facts are facts.
They are. I mean,
I haven't seen it since the players, so.
If he could put that Sunday round together, man, I mean, like you said, he's right there. He's playing so good Thursday through Saturday. What do we got to do to get Sunday locked in, bro? And not even just like a locked in low score. Let's just keep it at par, couple under, and he would have been right there in all of these things. But that Sunday, I don't know if it's the Sunday pressure, if it's the pressure to get that win that has been so elusive over these months when he's playing well. I don't know what it is, but we got to get that Sunday. I don't know. Maybe I'll call him this week, give him a little pep talk on
Let's put
Sunday.
one on the board this week. Let's put one on the board for Ricky this week. What do we say?
I already had him picked, so
It's the Sunday wearing OK State orange is his problem.
So
Pretty sure that the players he didn't wear the orange.
I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
He was like wearing blue and white stripes or something like that.
If you didn't think that these boys dive deep into this research here, you are sorely mistaken. We go down to outfits, people. Outfits here.
We're on Sunday Fit Check.
Exactly.
No Tiger Blood Red.
Hey, I have a quick question, and I know I'm interjecting here, and I didn't set you up for this. Cam Young,
Yeah.
where has he been? He got the new caddy. He was playing good already. I haven't seen him. Did he get hurt? What's going on with Cameron Young right now?
I personally don't know. I haven't been like that's he hasn't been hitting our model, so I haven't really been looking into him. So
Every time I see a C Young, it's Carson.
yeah,
And I'm like,
glad you brought that guy up.
What's going on right now? So anyway, do we have Carson Young on the board today, Chad? Is that what's going on?
We do.
Perfect. Well, a little segue into that. Who do we like this week? What are we looking at, Chad?
If you're looking like mid-level, I got a guy that's been playing out of his mind. Another OK State guy. His name is Austin Eckroat. He's sitting at 50-1. He's been playing so well that his odds have been dropping consistently.
I feel like you've mentioned him over the past couple of weeks, honestly.
I did at the Byron Nelson, and he got second.
Second, 16, 30, 10th, and the top 25.
Yeah. So his odds at Byron Nelson were I want to say 125 or 150, and now he's dropped all the way down to 50, partly because of this field, but also it's one of those things that they're catching on, and he's been playing very well. Another guy that I'll leave that one for Paul because I know he's going to talk about him. Some guys that I don't really like too many in the mid-level. I'm just going to jump to a course like this. I'm going to be hitting for long shots because it's just one of those courses like it's good chance for that. So, like you said earlier, Carson Young. I'm on this guy this week. He's been playing decently well. He hits it 300 to 310. So he's not like a bomb and gouge kind of guy, but these kind of courses like Travelers 15th, Byron Nelson 14th, Mexico 15th, Puerto Rico 3rd, like these kind of some type of courses like where it's going to be a lot of birdies. He does very well at that. I think he ranks in our model 3rd. Birdies are better, and with it not being a hard course, he can avoid bogey, so hopefully he can go pretty low. Another guy that is a bomb and gouge is a Joseph Bramlett.
There you go.
He hits it far. I think he ranks 6th in the field of driving distance here. Decent wedge game, and he actually is a decent putter too. Like you don't usually get that with a guy that can hit it far and putt.
So on Joseph,
Rory.
real quick for you, Chad. So just on that Joseph Bramlett. So when we talk about the driving distance and stuff, this course has been on the same course throughout the 5 years, correct?
Yes.
All right. So when I look back at this guy and I see that he's missed the cut every single year that he's played from back 2020, 2021, 2022, what are some of the things that you're looking at that's when you I know you put him out here as a long shot, so I'm not saying that you expect him to win, but what are some of the things? Is it his progression of his game throughout this year that is that is moving him into this? Because as somebody that's sitting back there, and I know everybody loves to look at your picks because you are so good at them, but I just happen to be on this guy when you actually set him, and I look at his previous results and I see that he hasn't made a cut in this tournament ever. So we're looking more of his game and the improvements that he has made over the past year and where he sits at now.
Right. Because if you look at last year, leading up to Rocket Mortgage, he missed 2 cuts before that, and he was 56 at the Travelers. So, he wasn't playing very well. This year, he's gotten a little better, and this is his type of course. That's the thing. It's a bomb and gouge. Like, if you're going to do what Bryson and Cam Davis did, that's what they just overpowered the course.
So it's kind of like a feast or famine, right? If the guy has his has a good week, right? Which obviously anybody has a good week, but if he has a good week, which we know is capable of, with his intangibles, this course fits absolutely perfect for him. He just needs to put it together, and he'll be right there. That's kind of what we're saying.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. And like his last 6 tournaments, like you've probably hardly ever heard of this guy, right?
I've never heard of him.
Okay, so his last 6 tournaments, 3 of them have been top 20s and 1 top 10. And the top 10 was at Mexico, which is a wide open, hit the ball as far as you can, wedge, make a putt for a birdie.
Yep.
So that's the thing, is that he's in a better place now than he was the last time he's played it. And this is a course that definitely suits him. Because it's one of those, just hit it as far as you can, hit a wedge up, make a putt.
I like that course.
It's-
I need to play
it's
those courses.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like Paul said, this is one of the most boring courses. It had the lowest scoring average of par 72s in the 1920 campaign. So it's, just it's right there in front of you. Just hit it, hit a wedge, and make
Get
a
her
putt.
done.
Paul, who
I
do you
think
like
it's-
this week? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chad. Were you finished?
I was just gonna say, as far as the par 5s, that's 3 of the 4 par 5s are 3 of the easiest on the whole tour.
Wow.
So it's just get out there and go low.
Heard that. Paul, who do you like this week to kind of build off of what Chad was just talking about?
I am like so tabbed in right now. I've got like 4 or 5 different things to talk about on stuff we've said. Like Joseph Bramlett's second on tour to Rory in driving distance.
Wow.
So a course like this suits him better with 4 par 5s instead of 2, which, I mean, the Travelers really isn't an event for him. He's hitting irons off of most tees. Then as far as Ricky Fowler on Sunday, his strokes gained total on Sundays is 17th in the field. If you want to know who's first on Sundays in the last 24 rounds, the last 24 Sundays, would be Tom Kim. Ooh, yeah, there you go, Kat. So, the last 24 Sundays, Ricky is 17th in the field. Now, based on what we heard earlier, you would think that he's 117th. But it's because we're getting to watch him be at the top of the leaderboard as often as we are over the course of the last 2 months. Yeah, he seems like not a closer, but only one guy closes. So Keegan Bradley went out and shot the tournament of his life. I mean, he did what we thought he was going to do in the back nine on Sunday. But
Yeah, he just coasted.
The course record, or the 2 par record here, or at the Travelers, is 25 under. And he was beyond that until he started wiping them. So he still won the event. I mean, good for him. He kept nobody at bay, though. There was no legitimate chaser. Reeve, who was closest to start the day, shot 2 over.
I thought Cantley was going to have a better Sunday. He couldn't make a putt.
No, he made bogey from 27 feet.
Yeah.
I don't know why I
What
don't
is
like
that?
Patrick Cantley. I think it's his face.
Yeah, he's just got a punch me face.
He has such a like a douchey face. I think
He's-
that's what it is.
And he's boring.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and nothing ever faces him either.
I mean, who's your favorite
Unflappable.
golfer?
Who's
He makes
my
a 70-footer.
My
and it's
favorite
just like
golfer,
nothing
Yeah.
happened.
Tiger.
Okay. Who's your favorite golfer that plays?
I love JT. Honestly,
Okay.
Oh, another punch
My
me
God.
face.
but I like Rory too. I don't know.
He has the attitude
Yeah.
to go behind the face, though, as far as the punch me
Yeah,
face.
so I mean, these are guys who have sound bites constantly. You're always going to see them on a press conference on Twitter. You're always going to. Cantley is boring. So why don't you like him? Because he wiggles his feet 127 times before he makes a putt. He never has anything engaging to say. He wears the most boring clothes. He has the most boring sponsors. He looks boring as hell. He's boring.
Yeah.
He plays great golf. He's an amazing golfer. Him and Xander take the ladies. They go to wine country.
Are
You
they
know.
good friends? Him and
Yeah,
Xander?
they're best friends.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Whenever
They-
the Ryder Cup comes up, whenever they're a team against whoever, just bet them. They play incredibly well. I don't know if it is.
Because I love Xander too. Like I love Xander, but I don't like Cantley. I don't know why. But now I look at Xander differently now that I know.
Xander wears fun clothes.
He wears Adidas. It's not fun.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
He
you're
had the
talking
party
to a
shirt
Nike
on.
guy.
He had the party shirt on.
All right, let's bring it back in here, boys. Let's bring it back in here.
Oh, Tyson's getting impatient. He needs to hear
Tyson-
some more names he's never heard.
Tyson, the king of off the rails, telling us to get back on the rails is.
Hey, somebody's got to keep control of this show.
It is something. All right, so we talked about a few of those people. Was there anybody you wanted to touch on, Paul?
Yeah, so Ricky at the top, and then I'm going back to two past winners, Cam Davis and Nate Lashley. And then another horse for this course is a guy who probably hasn't shown up on the radar recently. He was really hot in the beginning of the season. It's Chris Kirk. 21st is his worst finish here. Has played well in the past. Like those guys. And then if we're talking about one name that maybe we... So I'll say Bezadenhout again. He's not going to win, but I'll just say him in case this is a week you put something together and makes me look smart. But yeah, we talked about Fowler, we talked about Lashley, we talked about Eckroat, all guys near the top of our model. Tom Kim, 18th in our model. Bramlett, 24th in the model.
Who's number one in the model?
Ricky Fowler.
I got two names that I want to throw out.
Oh, here's Jeff's whatabouts.
Here we go.
Like my two whatabouts. One of them is Cameron Champ. That being, just for the simple fact that he just drives the ball. So you talked about overpowering a golf course, right? I mean, obviously,
Are you two in cahoots?
Who?
You and Paul?
Chad and I had a 5-minute conversation about Cam Champ before we got on it.
Oh, okay. No, not at all. It's just I listen to what your model is, and I think about guys that, in my opinion, fit that model.
Okay.
Cameron Champ. If I'm just like listening to you guys talk about what kind of golf course this is, I'm just putting it into my head as to, all right, well, this is who I think might fit that mold. So Cameron Champ is one.
Okay.
Any thoughts on him? You said you had a 5-minute conversation on him. I'm just curious.
Yeah. So the three things that we talked about were driving distance, approach, and putting.
Yeah.
Putting over the last 12 rounds, Cam Champ is 132nd in the field.
Scotty Scheffler territory.
On Poa and Bent over the last 24 rounds, he's 75th in the field.
Okay.
He's 21st in approach over the last 12. Driving distance over the last 12, he's actually 35th.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
does that have to do with the courses though? Like maybe he's like trying to dial it back a little bit in terms of like
definitely
it absolutely
process.
Does. Yeah.
That and he's only been playing 2 rounds a weekend, so
you can't get stats when you never make a cut. All right, fair enough. All right, well I appreciate you.
His recent form is miscut, 63rd, 50, miscut at the Mexico Open, which is a little more bomb and gougey. He did finish
this.
Yeah, I'm gonna put him in
course.
like a daily lineup. I think. I mean, he's not like an outright guy, but a daily lineup is like a long shot is okay.
That's exactly what I said to Chad. He's an interesting guy for this type of place, especially with what the course is supposed to do. So I don't hate the idea of him. Nothing in his form says he has. In his last 20, he's got more miscuts than finishes.
Yeah, it's a problem.
I mean,
whatever. All right, Chad, and I'm gonna ask you about this one because I know this is your boy, and I love his name. I don't know if his game fits this course, but Akshay Bhatia is a fun one to me that you might take a deep flyer on here. Any thoughts about his chances this week?
It's funny you said that. I feel like we're in cahoots because that's the other guy that Paul and I actually talked about.
We're just synced up over here, huh?
Yep. The thing with Bhatia, he's another one of those guys that he can get birdies in bunches.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He hasn't been playing very well lately, but he is actually one of my FOMOs. I'm gonna have a little bit on him. I feel like he could probably pull out a top 20 because, he hasn't played well lately, but Mexico Open, he was 4th. Puerto Rico, he was 2nd.
Puerto Rico, he played lights out, right?
Yeah, so that's one of those things. He's that type of guy also that he's not great off the tee, but when you don't get penalized for missing off the tee, then it opens everything else up where you can hit an iron close and then make putts. So that's the thing, is that without a lot of penalty for missing off the tee, then he has a great shot. He can hang with any of them. He can get birdies in bunches, and that's the one thing about that guy.
I always love lefties too for some reason. I don't know why. I admire
Just something new to you. That's why.
Yeah, I know. That's it.
I had a couple other guys that I just didn't want to. I threw out there that I didn't want to miss out because I feel like that's the same type of thing.
Please.
Taylor Pendrith.
Yep.
He's played like shit lately, but he was 2nd here last year, so he has a chance. He's one of those guys that can hit it far, and he can sink some putts. And then a super long shot that actually caught me off guard when I was looking at the model is that he's 19th in driving distance and 28th in putting in our model is Jimmy Walker.
Yeah.
Oldie, but a goodie.
Jimmy Walker?
He hits the ball 310.
Does he really?
Yes.
Dynamite.
Good for
That's
him.
what I'm talking about. And he was 15th at the Mexico Open and 14th at Wells Fargo.
He had that run. What was that run years and years ago where he was?
When he won a major.
Yeah, it was just, but it was like it wasn't like he just won a major as a one-off. Like he had a run there.
Well, yeah,
He
had a run where he was 4th at Valero, 6th at the player, or 2nd at the Players, 6th at Byron Nelson in 2018, and then he won the PGA Championship in 16. But then he caught Lyme disease, and
oh no shit.
Yeah, that will fatigue you.
Oh, that sucks.
And he's I feel like he's finally coming back and playing some good events. He missed a cut last week at the Travelers, but I feel this is more his speed because he lost strokes tee to green. He lost 9 strokes tee to green at the Travelers, and I don't think I would even do that at the Travelers.
All right, fair enough. Anybody else you got, Paul?
No, I think
we're tapped out here.
I think we're pretty good.
You don't want to go with Hubbard, Paul?
We've said half the field.
That's true. Hey, quick question for you guys, and this is just, I know it's a little off topic, but I have a question for you.
Oh boy, here we go.
When a pitcher releases the ball,
oh my God,
the radar gun
really
picks it up. Is it picked up when it crosses the plate, or is it picked up when it leaves the pitcher's hand?
So
was it picked up?
Here's one thing I'm gonna say. I've never been nominated for an Emmy, but I have gotten a speeding ticket. And I don't know any time I got a speeding ticket that the officer on duty waited until I was at him in order to tell me how fast I was going. So I have to imagine that there has to be some kind of object has to approach a radar gun in order for it to happen. So I don't know when it's measured to be exact, but my guess is going to be it's somewhere between the pitcher's hand and the plate.
Okay.
I would go with that too because I feel like.
Well, I'm going to stop both of you right there. Obviously, this is a collusion that happened at the local watering hole to have this come brought in. But you know what? That's fine. Everybody is entitled to their opinions. I brought out the thing that actually where the box is at home plate, where if you're watching a baseball game and the ball crosses the plate, on the little box it shows you whether it's a slider, whether it's a strike, whether it's a ball, how fast it's going. That is measured when that ball approaches that zone and hits that zone.
So
that's all we're talking about.
Slider or a curveball when they release it from their hand.
Jeff, I'm not going to go through with this for you. It's like beating my head against the drum. I've given you statistical data. I've shown you the information that has been out there.
I don't care about your facts.
I know. You just want to stick with your thing.
Saying though, what you're saying is that it doesn't take any time for them to put all that stuff on the screen for you to see. but they can do it instantly right as it goes over the plate.
Correct. That's why when the ball goes over the plate, you see the little dot that hits the thing.
It doesn't take the 3 seconds for them to put it on the screen that it takes for that baseball to get to the plate.
It's
No,
not 3 seconds.
it's a split
ball
second.
Doesn't take 3 seconds. Exactly. A split second. So
Here, let me just put this out here because we're talking about pitch FX. Okay, pitch FX is what you see as far as the strike zone goes and what the box that is around home plate. Okay, that is pitch FX. I'm not talking about
effects.
I'm not talking about a radar gun. I'm talking about pitch FX that you see on the television when a pitcher throws the ball and it says slider at 85 miles an hour. It gives you the exact position. Okay, this is the definition of how pitch FXs work. Okay, pitch FX is a system using 3 permanently mounted cameras in the stadium to track the speed and location of a pitched baseball from the pitcher's mound to home plate with an accuracy of better than 1 mile per hour and 1 inch. With pitch FX statistics such as the pitcher with the fastest fastball or the pitcher with the sharpest breaking curve, etc., can be analyzed. It calculates the movement of pitches caused by the Magnus forces. That is what you're seeing on the television. Okay, and that is what I stated. When I was talking about the college, because this is how it all came out, I said I had to check and see, make sure that the same distance was there. And then Jeffrey immediately told me it doesn't matter because if they threw it from center field and it crossed home plate, it would still say 100 miles an hour. And that's how this whole rabbit hole came into fruition here. Because
I didn't say that.
You absolutely said that.
Holes making fruition.
I said that the mound was at 60.6 inches, which is what it is now, and it was moved to 90.6 inches. That meter on pitch count thing that you see would not say 95, and you told me wrong. It would still say 95.
Correct. It's just like when
That's
a Little
okay.
League
Just
player
stop right there.
throws 70 miles an hour, and a Little League player throws 70 miles an hour, right, from 45 feet, and it says this is what it looks like. This is what it translates and looks like on a major league pitch. It looks like it's coming in at 100. It's still thrown at 70.
I'm losing brain cells by this. I'm just losing brain cells. So I'm not going to keep. I'm not going to keep having this conversation. Everybody that knows anything about baseball out there, all my baseball fans, I know you got my back. I'm going to put this poll up. I might do a promoted Twitter poll on this to see what we can go up. I might tag Buster only. Buster only. I'm tagging you. I need some input. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm telling you, when I'm watching a baseball game. And that box comes up on the screen, and when that ball crosses the box, that is what the speed that you see, that is the location that you see. It doesn't, okay, so the location is just when it releases the pitcher's hand, so there should be a little dot. Should be a little dot. This is what I've been talking about the entire time, is the radar gun and when it crosses home plate, because that is what you see when you're watching a baseball game. And I said I couldn't believe that these college kids were hitting 100 miles an hour. I had to check and make sure that they were at the same distance. And then that's when you told me it doesn't matter what distance the home plate is from the pitcher's mound, because it's not measured when it crosses home plate. It's measured when it comes out of a pitcher's hand. That is absolutely incorrect.
So
you think a slider, when a pitcher throws a slider, right? And the slider reduces velocity based on the spin, that it comes out of his hand at 85 miles an hour, right? That's what we're saying?
Correct.
Oh, Jesus. Guys, I apologize for Jeffrey and the way that he acts. And for all the listeners out there, I am definitely going to kick him in the nuts next time I see him. And then we can measure that velocity from the foot to the nuts.
But that would have the most velocity right when you started your kick.
If that's where it's measured from, sure. But that's not where it's going to end up.
So what is exit velocity measured off of?
I want to talk about exit velocity next week.
Exactly. Whatever. We'll talk about swing speed and ball speed. Exactly. There we are.
Boys, you have a great day. Thank you so much for your knowledge on the golf course. Thanks, and the golf course only. I appreciate everything you do. You guys have a wonderful day.
Of everything that you
the Red Sox are 500.
The Red Sox are 500.
Yeah. Red Sox. The Gators scored too many runs on Sunday and didn't have enough for Monday. By the way,
we already talked about that. Thank you for that. Throwing that on the fire.
I just wanted to say it while we're talking baseball.
Appreciate you.
No problem.
Well, on that
I like
note,
this
it
calling
is Wednesday. I have things to do. Heading out to the old nursing home to check
me. Hey,
out.
how'd the scan go? How'd the test results go?
I'm not talking about that. You know that.
Everything okay?
I repeatedly said I'm not talking about that.
I know, but I repeatedly want to talk about it.
Yeah, well, you repeatedly need to respect my medical record decisions.
A HIPAA violation over here.
You are a walking HIPAA violation.
Walking HIPAA violation.
Everybody, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy F1 this weekend. We'll be back on Monday. We're going to do a little bit more of an MLB recap. We'll see what happens over the weekend. Hopefully nothing else tragic happens in the sporting world, but if it does, we will be there to cover it. Maybe we'll talk about a little bit of this NBA rift that's going on and trade rumors and who is going where. We'll talk about all that and plenty more on Monday. We'll see you then. Everybody keep playing.